Good morning and namaste to all the attendees for the event. On behalf of Indian Biogas Association, I welcome you all to the webinar entitled Roadmap to Innovation and Sustainability. I am Dr. Savita Boral from the Indian Biogas Association and I'm privileged to moderate the flow of the session today. This webinar aims to inform and create awareness amongst the biogas fraternity, which shall enable the wider set of stakeholders to understand, strategize, and make an informed decision to enter the fast growing bioenergy market in India. This event is a furtherance to the webinar series being organized by IBA on the principle of coordination, communication, and solution. I hope that the 1.5 hour webinar shall be highly beneficial to all the participants. So without much ado, let's get going and straight away to hear from our expertise. As Dr. A.R. Shukla has already briefed us about the webinar and the speakers, I would like to call upon our first speaker, Mr. Ravi Kaushal from State Bank of India. Beginning his career as a probationary officer in SBI, Mr. Kaushal has served diverse roles in various capacities like serving across the Northeastern Circle and presently being associated with the Consultancy Services Cell in Delhi, where he is performing techno-economic viability studies for several projects and providing specialized industry-specific training to the bank credits officers, managing SME loans, implementing entrepreneur development program, conducting industry analysis on nascent sectors, offering guidance and counseling to entrepreneurs at the SME Felicitation Center, and so on. Mr. Ravi, we look forward to hear from you.
Yeah, good morning, everybody. Am I audible?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You're audible.
Uh, so, I think the introduction itself, it will be surprising to most of the participants because one anybody who hears about the bank first, he thinks yes, he'll be talking about something regarding the how much rate of interest is there, what is the collateral security and all. So it is a very peculiar department of State Bank of India, and it was established long back, 50 years back. So the idea is to handholding, not only thinking or implementing the new technologies or moving India ahead, but simultaneously the handholding part, which is a very much important for implementation of various type of technology. And I really proud to say that we have seen so many technologies in the past also, like solar when it started coming to India in the right from 2010. So we were there, we struggled a lot. We were one of the stakeholder, and then we saw the whole journey how it is. Now it is the cakewalk almost. Now moving ahead with the compressed biogas. So I really appreciate Indian Biogas Association who was taking all the pains and in most of the forums also and in bringing all the stakeholders just for the implementation and promoting this particular industry as such. So here also as far as financing part is concerned, I will touch upon the three main points. First is the technology part of it. Another one is the feedstock or the raw material availability. And the third thing is the offtake or the selling part of it. So coming with the technology part of it, anybody who's coming to the bank with any proposal, any promoter of putting up any CBG plant. So we do a financing in the ratio of 2:1. Means suppose if somebody is investing is 3 rupees, so he needs to put his 1 rupee into the project, but the bank has to put the 2 rupees. So that's why any financial institution or a bank has to be doubly cautious or very watchful in identifying and looking all the risks associated with that particular project. So that's why technology plays a very important role in CBG project. And here I like to share what are all the my experience in dealing with the proposal so that most of the participants also get benefited out of it. So recently what I'm observing is there are numerous technologies started coming into the CBG project because we started this right from 2018 when the Satat scheme had come. By that time, so many promoters were very much cautious ki, okay, there's a no technology available at all. Ki, now how to believe? Because most of them, they have seen 30 years back when the compressed biogas is used to means it was the matter of a village in which a very small digester of small size is made up of cement. They used to produce compressed biogas. Now in 2018, the people started off producing a biogas to the order of 2 tons, 3 tons, 5 tons. And that also the capital cost is very, very high, going 20 crores or 30 crores. So the viability part also, they were very much surprising. But over the last 2 years, what I'm observing is, uh, yeah, and particularly the technology they have has a cost also, and different technology is claiming with the help of this particular feedstock, they'll be generating maybe the yield will be 3%, 4% or 10%. So, like if we talk of a general feedstock, what we observe that suppose using a press mud as a feedstock, it gives a yield of 3%. If somebody switch on to Napier grass, the yield is somewhere around 4% to 5%. And going to the parali or the rice straw, the yield will be somewhere around 10%. But if somebody comes with the proposal and goes to any financial institutions, most of the bankers means they are not coming with that. We are speaking this language because we are engineer, we understand the technical things. So a particular banker, now there are many, they are not sure ki, okay, if some technology, if it is coming to that, with the if they are using the feedstock as a press mud, this particular plant is certainly going to give a yield of 3% or maybe 2% or maybe a 4%. Or if somebody is using maybe a rice straw, the particular plant in the next 10 years will be generating the same amount of say maybe a 10% or 8% or 12% of yield. But the good part is for the last 2 years, what we are observing is there are many companies which are coming, which are doing the sample analysis. Sample analysis in the sense they will take you the feedstock, a small part of feedstock, what the promoter proposed to sell, and they'll be doing the sample analysis and they'll be able to tell ki, suppose if we are going to use this particular press mud or we are going to use Napier grass or maybe a rice straw, you are probably going to generate a yield of that many percent. So with this report, if any promoter, if he goes to any financial institution or a bank, with this particular report, and it is very reliable also, the banker also get assured and the promoter also get assured ki, okay, by using this much yield will be produced. So out of most of the technology, this is my request to the promoters also and the financial institution to obtain this particular report, because that was not the case means 4 or 6 years back. So I have also observed and I find it's quite useful. Now going to the second part of the technology is the capital cost. So many technologies, they are very much reasonable. And for the last 2 months, I received 4 proposals of compressed biogas in which I observed that the capital cost is as high as twice of that. Now, here I just try to shift that focus. Whenever a bank or a financial institution finance any particular industry or a project, they go by the benchmark cost. Like if you take a case of a solar, like for installation of 1 megawatt of solar plant, the banker will say, okay, normally it should cost 4 to 5 crores. Similarly, in the existing or the domestic technology which are available for setting up a 1 TPD of plant, the cost should vary 5 to 6 crores, somewhere like that. But surprisingly, I think the last month only, I received one proposal, means they were going to set up a project somewhere near Ayodhya or so. The cost of project was somewhere around 10 crores per megawatt. Sorry, per TPD. So going 10 crores, obviously means it may so happen they may not be using say indigenous technology. Maybe they are importing a digester or a upgradation plant from the Europe. But the point is, you are going to get the same amount of revenue, or maybe the when you will be selling your compressed biogas, maybe you will be selling at the rate of 65 or 70 rupees. By investing twice of the money, you are not going to get that much revenue. And more importantly, the bank also, they will be going by the benchmark cost. What bankers will do, they will take the benchmarking cost like 5 to 6 crores per TPD, and then rest of the part means they will be advising to the promoter to bring it as a equity. So that will be a financial burden. So that's why it is very much important while deciding a technology you are choosing, because we don't insist that. But the equity part, that will be a really strenuous and that will be a problem to that. Now, another thing comes the operational cost, which the banker also would like to see. Operational cost as such, many technologies we have seen where the operational cost is very high, particularly using a consumable in the upgradation plant of it. So the operational cost, what happens, normally a plant what we are just appraising our project and giving a term loan for a period of 10 years. And I myself, we struggled a lot in increasing a tenure of loan, because by that time, we have seen in the years 2019 and 20, the prices of CBG was also very less. Now only we have compared to the uh, current price, we are matching the price with the current price of CBG. So the operational part is also much important. In some of the project, like one of the project we have sanctioned and installed in Bareilly. So in that particular thing, the digester also, it was an important import, that was a particular digester was imported, and the operation cost was very, very high. So the few of the CVG project what we have financed, in which we have just chalk out the term loan duration of 10 to 12 years. But in that, since the operation cost was very, very high, so we have to make it term loan for 14 to 15 years, and the viability also, it was hampered a lot. And third thing, obviously, the whenever we see that, we prefer the domestically there, because there are already 3 or 4 companies are there which are also approved by the government of India as a technology, good technologies. And from the foreign countries also, like Germany and Italy, many imported plants are coming. But as a financer, which we see that in case of breakdown or a preventive maintenance, the spare should be available, rightly available, and the service should be good. So now coming to the raw material part of it, in the raw material side, the feedstock, as a banker, we see that the feedstock should be regularly, or it should be easily available, and at the right consistency and at the right price. Press mud, we have seen that it is tried and tested, because we have also conducted the industry study on compressed biogas. Right, in the present also, more than 60% of the existing CVG plants, they are using the press mud as the main feedstock. And yes, obviously the consistency of press mud is also very certain or established, because it is the byproduct of an sugar mill which is already running for the last 50 to 60 years. So that is a very good point of it. 1 or 2 proposal we have obtained, in which they are migrating using Napier grass as a feedstock. Now, Napier is also a very challenging thing, because obviously for using feedstock as a Napier grass, the particular promoter need to invest more on a pre-treatment part of it, and the operational cost is also going to be very high. But from the financing point of it, the more challenging part of it, suppose I'll give you an example of a 5 TPD plant. Napier grass is a very peculiar plant, means you get a 3 or 4 crops per annum, and in a per acre area, you may obtain around 10 tons of Napier grass. So for 5 TPD plant, if somebody wants to have or try to manage the land in which he can just cultivate the Napier grass and then harvest it accordingly, so you will be surprised to know the requirement of land increases from 500 acres to 700 acres. So 500 to 600 acres means it is just 50% of any area of an airport. So managing this much amount, means this much area of a land, it is really a challenging. So I told the promoter also, that particular proposal, it came to us from Saranpur side. So I told him ki, yes, you need to be very, very careful. Obviously means you will be getting a benefit of 1 or 2% of yield by using a Napier grass as that. But the requirement of land goes very, very high, and managing that is a very big challenge. And obviously, when you were recently coming to this normal feedstock, I'll come to the MSW also. MSW has been a challenge from our side, because MSW, everybody, as a financier also used to think the quality is very, very heterogeneous. We don't know what is this. And everybody knows the 500 TPD plant of Indore also, he suffered for 1 year. And ultimately now only it is stabilized. And recently we got a promoter also, one of the promoter, now he's taking another good challenge. In Hyderabad also, he wants to put up means 1000 TPD of MSW plant. And I also received one of the very small plant they wanted to put up in Noida. But what they wanted to do, they just wanted to process the municipal sewage waste. So I took intention, because yes, I thought of it like just in Delhi also, means in Noida there should not be another heap of garbage like Wazirabad or Mukarba Chowk. So I just took an interest, and very interesting part of it, what I observed that, because earlier we never used to see like MSW as a normal CBG plant, but the good part is that uh, the CBG in that particular MSW plant, the subscription obtained from the city, means the households, as well as the dry part which will be taken out from the MSW, like plastic, paper, and the metal part, means by selling these, the revenue becomes that much high, means your CBG becomes the secondary, and the particular project become very, very profitable or a viable. So that's why for MSW plant now, that's why now it is a very good thing. Suppose if somebody want to establish in a city plant, and I really see that if it is possible, the small plants of MSW in any city, maybe a Gurgaon, Delhi, collecting means containing an area of means 10 to 12 sectors, or maybe a 2-3 kilometers. That is a very good point. So MSW also, the SIDBI also, now it is giving a credit guarantee of 75% if by paying a nominal fees of 1.2%. So this is the raw material part of it. Now coming to the offtake agreement, yes, whenever any CBG product comes to the bank, they really emphasize on there should be a very long-term agreement, means the purchasing agreement with the buyer. That is very much important, because it is the nature of the CBG plant. We cannot store it. The volume is also very, very high. And if it is not used, the promoter has no other option but to burn it or flare it. So that's why whenever it comes to us, we have two policy. One is the biofuel policy, means those particular projects which are not catered under the SATAT scheme, that we can accommodate in our biofuel policy. And normally the CBG product which comes under SATAT, we are financing according to that. In both the things, we insist that there should be a long-term offtake agreement from the buyer side. And yes, another challenge in that their project means the identification of CNG station. That is a very, very must. Before selling this CBG, we have seen the plants that everything is ready, but when it comes to starting of commercial operation, there's a identification of CNG station, or maybe the construction of CNG station which was proposed earlier. It is not taking time, and it becomes a financial burden on the part of promoter, because once the commercial operation decide, even though if there is a moratorium period, is bound to pay the interest. So the plant is not started, the revenue is not started, he's not earning any profit. So it becomes very heavy on the part of promoter. Similarly, if any CBG plant, suppose if you want to get connected or want to supply under CGD scheme also, he has to make sure he has to be very cautious in selecting the location of the plant near to the pipeline, means the GAIL pipeline. In our Bareilly plant, we have seen that yes, they told okay, the line is coming from the 136 kilometer, and that will be constructed within 6 to 7 months. When we talked to the oil marketing company senior executive, then only we came to know it is almost a 10-inch steel pipe, and laying of 1 kilometer of pipe, it takes 6 to 7 days. So you can understand, in 1 year, one will be able to lay the pipe of 52 kilometers. So that's why it is very much important for that. And last but not the least, the offtake agreement. Recently, we came across that the oil marketing company, now they're telling they are agreed to take the 60% amount of their generation. So I tell that somebody, if they want to invest the money in whole the plant, at least the selling part of it, it should be 100%, not the 60%. Otherwise, the 30 or 40% of money which he have invested, it will go waste, because it is a very unique product. A promoter is the person, he cannot sell it elsewhere. So with that, I conclude my session. I hope I have touched the few points which any CBG plants may hamper, or it will be beneficial to you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. Your insights will be helpful in making apt decisions to make the mitigate risk in the projects and achieving the desired valuability. Now, we are privileged to welcome Colonel Rohit Dev, who is the MD at Reveille Energy. Colonel Rohit Dev, having a distinguished career in the Indian Armed Force, has held the position of Chief Operating Officer in Renewable Energy and served as Chief Business Officer in both an aerospace and a multi-modal logistic company. In addition to founding Reveille Energy as a startup in the bioenergy sector, he serves as the Deputy Director General in the International Institute of Security and Safety Management. He serves as an expert advisor at the Indian Biogas Association. Sir, kindly share your multi-dimensional expertise with us. Also, I would like to mention this that all our esteemed speakers are having 15 minutes to express their views so that we can smoothly move on with the webinar. Sir, the floor is all
Thank you.
yours.
So Savita knows that I talk too much, so she has already warned me that 15 minutes is the time. And I'll keep it to that. My topic for the day is to talk about the best practices and the due diligence part, which in some way will also touch base with the finance world. Um, so I'll just stick to the topic currently, and if anybody's got any queries around the supply chain aspect, the value chain of upstream, we can discuss this then in Q&A or subsequently as well. So let me just break down the aggregation part into a few parts, maybe 5 or 6 parts for today's understanding. And from there only, I will take out what are the innovations required, what are the best practices, and what is the way forward in terms of due diligence. So the first part of any aggregation, and it happens at the farm level. So it's basically a farm to factory connect. And in this farm to factory connect, the first aspect is the farm itself, where we have agricultural land and we need to deploy post-harvest equipment, manpower, money, and methods. So everything in the upstream and or any other scheme of things in bioenergy sector revolves around these 4 M's, and that is material, manpower, and it's to do with your methods and also your money eventually. So these 4 M's will dictate what kind of post-harvest cycle do you curate. The second aspect of aggregation is the transportation, and transportation is in a true sense multimodal because it starts with aggregation in tractors, in bullock carts, in camel carts, in any other form as well, and then goes on to get densified into bales or briquettes and pellets and whatever is the transportation model into smaller trucks, bigger trucks, and then it goes all the way. It can also have the potential to be shipped today because a lot of shipping takes place of biomass transatlantic towards Europe and Japan as well. So all modes of transportation are open for this. Railways are being employed. The third is the logistic part, which includes the warehousing, which is the key because the aggregation cycles are short. So North India, one cycle, 20, 25, 30 days at max. Going to the southern part of India, central part of India, 2 cycles. And then going to eastern part of India, maybe you're lucky in places of states of Bihar and other states where you can get about 3 cycles as well. But these 3 cycles or 2 cycles or one cycle also define the financial modeling of that particular plant or project or the upstream. Warehousing also is important because then after you have aggregated, you need to store it in a depot or a warehouse for a long tenure. You have to maintain the standards, the quality, because sustainability is not only about the quantity, it's also about the quality which has to be infused into the project. Then comes the fourth element, which is also key, is the workforce. And workforce with such a spread of biogas happening, a lot of other biofuels coming in, the steam sector going through the boiler segment of the country is already consuming a lot of biomass. So upstream is already aligned into that for last 7, 8 years, giving steam at cost and creating briquettes and pellets for industry. So the workforce management is also critical, which also should be part, when I come to the due diligence part, I will reiterate more. Then is about the finance and the insurance part of this biomass, because while projects are easy to understand to be financed, the upstream of the biomass supply chain, the aggregation part is broken in parts. So whichever scheme you see of banks or you see the AIF fund, there are segments where a farmer or an entrepreneur or a company can draw down adequate finance for various aspects of this value chain, but it is currently not stitched as a value chain completely from farm to factory. So there is no current financing model which caters to the entire plot. And the second point, which becomes an inhibition point, is with the farmers who do not get their foot in the doorstep to get the due finance when that is required. So that is a bugbear because this entire gamut of the upstream supply chain of biomass and so much of industry energy transition hinging on it, where India is going to see a 15, 18% part being played by bioenergy in the future. We'll have to be very, very confident that the farmer is the real stakeholder. And somehow that has to be put into the ball game, not only of the process and the methods, but also in terms of the finance part. And then we have monitoring and quality, monitoring both for quality of the product itself, and also the efficiency of the processes which you employ right through the value chain. So I'll just reiterate before I go forward, material, manpower, methods, and money are what we are looking at. So let me talk about some technological innovations which can be included as best practices. So it's a no-brainer that the right amount in the transport part, in the warehousing part. So all these three are intensive by machines and also manpower. So things like, in Internet of Things like IoT, a small IoT machine on a baler or any other machine can guarantee outputs as you envisage for a project. So it brings in efficiency. It takes away the manual lacunae there, the manual, sort of laziness there, and it brings in more efficiency how the machines operate, and they are giving full time during the aggregation period, because that is crucial. Because even if, say, your briquetting plant does not operate for 2 hours, or a CBG does not operate for a day or two, that cost analysis, when you do, the penalty is lower compared to in a 20-day cycle. If your machines don't work efficiently and they only give you output for 15 days, and your aggregation does not take place for the entire year, that entire midstream production and downstream sales goes for a toss, because you've not done the first part correctly. So that is where you need to put more softwares, more predictive analysis, and AI has to come. You need to establish blockchains in the entire process. So the moment you create a process, blockchain helps you to identify the gaps. Like the previous speaker was also mentioning, that they look at the due diligence of how the warehousing is done in terms of spare parts, tools, and accessories for a particular project. So it is also applicable from the upstream part itself. So you will have to do all that, seeing the shipping lines, what is the turnaround time for a particular component to come from China or any other place, or internal in India. So all these are parts, especially the logistic part, which comes effectively, under the blockchain, and connecting to the efficiency of the machines itself, which I spoke about. Then GIS-based mapping is very important, and I will come to that in due diligence, that how the mapping is not only important for assessment and feasibility studies of the biomass itself, but also for the logistic plan curation, which any stakeholder or a company plans to do. 3D printing is something which will bring in a lot of structured growth of many things. So I think that is the way forward, coming in to create warehouse depots or things like that, which are easier to do. And once you benchmark a particular construct, you can go for 3D printing as well. EV mobility and other sources of mobility which are renewable, which are not designed on fossil fuel, is something which the industry must look at, because while we are looking at all the segments, scope 3, scope 2 also remain quite challenging for this industry. And that is where the component of mobility comes in, directly attached to the upstream, right from farm to factory and beyond, which we need to cater to in terms of emissions and otherwise. Then also, when I talked about the workforce, it's about the training part, how augmented reality can get in more skill development, reskilling and upskilling of the workforce, which is required in the complete industry. And then environmental controlled and sensor-based warehouses is something which is costly. So you can't put it directly to many hectares of the warehouse for a biomass, but certainly for the product which is made thereafter, which goes into various uses. For example, pellets go into gasification of a process. So you're going to make a pellet, line and produce pellets. So things like that, you should look at the warehousing part as well. And then it's about the e-marketplace. We all are aware many e-marketplaces are coming up in India as well, and globally as well. And the knowledge sharing portals need to also come up. So that is the part which I wanted to cover about the aggregation and where the practices are. And when you come to the storage of the biomass, proper fire lanes, ESG norms, HSE norms, everything else comes into place. So I'm not going to dwell into those norms. If somebody wants to ask, we can go forward there. Then let me just touch base about the due diligence part as well. So I have about, I think, 5 minutes more. So due diligence also is part of what I was supposed to cover today. And sustainable supply chain management hinges on two, criteria in biomass. Two main criteria. There are many other criteria. One is the quantity and other is the quality. And both, I'm afraid, I've gone through a lot of projects, and the financial world is here with us, from banks and institutions, who realize when they do their due diligence, it's easier to assess a process, take a feedback from the World Wide Web or some other person about a project, technology, or the offtake guarantees or policies and things like that. But it's very, very difficult to understand where the upstream requires the due diligence part, and where a lot of projects have failed, and they have failed not currently, maybe in the first biogas sort of spurge when our country went through in the late 80s and 90s, and it culminated with the early 2000 era, was when you were not able to get the biomass for your project. So whether the projects were misaligned, or they were placed or positioned in a place where there was no biomass, or there was biomass and there was no intent to produce the output, whatever be the case, the biomass feasibility studies have not been done in the manner they ought to be done to curate a supply chain plan. So it's quite something to take a NTRO map and say there is enough available, or a agricultural ministerial report, or a TIFAC report, or any other report, and say it's available, or go to the big four and they will do a nice rosy kind of a picture painting for you and say it's available. But when you go to ground and you need to create a system for 15, 30 years of a project life, that is where this study becomes more important, because unless the nuts and bolts, right till the insurance part, the land part, the villagers who are going to be involved, what is going to be your intake from each villager, what's the geotagging of the location of that biomass, what has been the previous condition of irrigation or plantation in that era, how has it changed, why has it changed, where is the soil nutrient level, what kind of crops can grow, what kind of water table do you see there, what was it 30 years back, what geographically and topographically it will be a few years ahead, what is the GIS enabled kind of database which is pertinent to understand all the systems, is very, very important as part of any due diligence. So if you don't do this, and if we go cosmetic only on the technology and the offtake guarantees, pardon for saying, even the SBI will understand, and I've had a talk with the DFC with their investment in India into 10 projects, big companies and smaller ones at that. The problem becomes is that you're not done the homework on the upstream. You've not adequately financed the upstream. You've not looked after the risk mitigation of the upstream. And that is where the problem is. If you don't do those feasibility studies, and if you just eyewash for a DPR, for a 10 lakh or a 5 lakh kind of a study, it's not going to work. Second is about the workforce management, like I alluded to. It's very, very important to understand that the workforce selection process, skilling, upskilling, reskilling, has to be part of the game. Otherwise, today there is a lot of shortage. So the bigger fishes are taking away the workforce from smaller fishes at 2.5, 3x kind of salary raises. And this trend is continuing for the last 3.5, 4 years. Is it sustainable? The answer is no. So you need to create those systems and audit them and monitor them to see that the right efficiency is coming in. So many HR agencies do this part to select and monitor the systems in a company. That ought to be part of due diligence when you are a project developer or a financer for a project. The process flow itself, how efficient, how innovative, how risk mitigated the process itself is, has to be properly laid out in all due diligence charts in the upstream. And if the environment wants that kind of an approach, IBA and my company would be able to co-opt that and build that entire due diligence process for you. Then is to do about policies and compliances, not only what is there, but also what is global. It is very important to understand, gone are the days that you can get away with any due diligence for the upstream because it's in the rural belt with your own personal standards. It has to be following global standards for finance and for any kind of equity debt or any kind of mezzanine funding, whatever you want to do with the money part. They are going to look at the global standards and global best practices. So you ought to align your ESG and HSSE as per the global standards. And that is where our own systems, which do this small financing, especially the smaller cooperatives and other lenders, they need to look at these aspects as well. Last but not the least is the leadership part. And dare I say that unless you see a commitment of cause in the leadership of that particular company, no matter what big name or small name or medium name it is important to see that company's assessment in the current business. How does it align with the renewable business? That's for bigger companies. And for smaller companies to look at the quote unquote, the leadership quotient of that company to carry forward. Because there have been many growth stories in India, especially in the upstream side with supply chain companies who have come with a bang, they've talked a lot, they've got a lot of investment, but they've fizzled out in terms of performance. So that is where the outlook needs to shift, and to be able to identify the correct leadership to lead these processes as well. So I think the time is exactly up as per my military norms. 15 minutes are over. Over to Savita ji, and we can take this on later in the day or maybe forward when we meet in person as people. Thank you so much.
Indeed, that was fascinating. Thank you so much for this enriching talk. Now, we welcome our esteemed speaker, Dr. A.K. Yadav, Chief Consultant, MoA&FW. Dr. A.K. Yadav, former Director, National Center of Organic Farming, Ministry of Agriculture, is a known expert in the field of organic farming and organic and biological inputs and has contributed to the spread of organic area, developed organic certification systems, the author of the PSG Indian certification system being operated by the Ministry of Agriculture and Farmer Welfare. Dr. Yadav had also been the advisor to the Organic Division of EPIDA and various committees, expert panels, forces on biofertilizers, biopesticides, and organic to the policy development. Dr. Yadav is Agriculture as Chief Consultant and is contributing to the development of organic farming. Sir, the floor is all yours. We are eagerly waiting to hear from you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. My greetings to all the panelists and namaste to all the persons, those who are not visible but are there in the audience. My subject is, I think it will be entirely different what my previous speakers has discussed. I'm not about the financing, not about the project management. I will be focusing more on the how this output of the biogas, which comes up in the form of manures, it helps the agriculture, it helps the viability. I'll also speak about some of the issues related to the biogas manures. I'll just share a brief presentation. So I'll be speaking first through the presentation. I'll be just sharing some of the data. What is the overall scenario of the organic manures? A little bit about the sustainability, and then finally we'll come down to the regulatory and the quality issues of the biogas manures. You know very well, sustainable, whenever we talk about sustainable in any sector, nowadays it's very common. Even industries are also sustainable, banks are also sustainable, talking everywhere. You know, important part is that whatever resources we utilize and whatever we deliver against the consumption of the resources, we have to make a parity and balance between them, that whatever we utilize, we also help in generating those resources back to the ecosystem so that we utilize the resources meant for us and do not compromise with the resources which are meant for the future generations. Same is true with agriculture. Unfortunately, in agriculture, we are getting less and less sustainable with every passing year. We are almost, consuming the water recklessly. We are consuming the resources. We have already spoiled the soil. And also, very well known what is the quality of food which is coming up from our unsustainable farming systems. So organic policies, organic methodologies, and organic fertilizers or the manures, they play a very important role. But it's not only the one particular thing in farming, sustainable farming. There is a bouquet of so many things, like from monocropping to diversified cropping systems, proper use of natural resources just as water, biomass recycling, avoid nutrient mining, then allow natural nutrient cycles to function, maintain the biological life of the soils, minimize practices that degrade the environment, and we have to ensure that we give respect to almost all the life forms which are associated with the farm. And finally, while integrating all this, how we minimize the external synthetic inputs, which are important, but still have a lot of issues with them. Now, coming to the manure, anything which comes in the form of organic from animal or plant origin, when it is passed through a decomposition process, and finally it becomes a stable fertilizer, we call it as an organic manure. Now everybody has a different meaning, but this is the common meaning what we adopted into the fertilizer control order. And there can be many type of, manures which are available and being used in our country. I have listed here only what are available, and very important part is that during the last almost 15-20 years, a lot of commercialization has entered. Previously, when we started working with manures, it was an on-farm activity to be done by the farmer or maybe doing by his own neighbors or the family members. But now the organic manure has also become commercialized, and a lot of commercial formulations are available. I am also giving how is the overall scenario of the country. Farmyard manure, this is basically the one which farmers make, then compost, vermicompost, biogas slurry. Among biogas slurry there are two types, solid one, liquid one. And recently in last 10-15 years, lot of enriched manures have also come into the market, which are being prepared by using the minerals like phosphate rich, phosphate potassium compost, then 𝘬𝗿𝗀𝗃 cakes. To enrich the compost, slaughterhouse waste is also being utilized. Now, some recommendations have come that chemical fertilizers can also be enriched with the organic manures so that their use efficiency is increased many times. Industrial waste, there is a lot of potential. My earlier speaker has already spoken about the press mud, which is being done. Another is the spent wash ash also is being utilized. And biogas slurry derivatives are also there, which are being commercialized. But whenever we go into the talking for the manure part, it is not only that they provide nutrient to the crop. They also have a lot of other functions which are also very, very important for the soil and the crop. First thing, they are the rich in organic carbon, so they act as a food for microorganisms and micro life into the soil, which is very important for the health and functionality of the soil. They help in management of soil health, buffering potential, increase the moisture holding capacity. Manures are also maintain natural nutrient cycles. Here, I don't know, many of you are not belonging to agriculture. Many of the nutrient cycles are there in the nature, which works very well. And if we maintain, they can meet even half of the requirement of the crops, like the nitrogen fixation cycle, similarly like the phosphorus cycle, carbon cycle, like that. So if the microbial life is there into the soil, then all these natural nutrient cycles also function very well. Then all our organic waste management is done by this process. They keep the soil healthy, maintains the soil's organic matter, increase use efficiency of added fertilizer. This is the overall scenario. You can see we calculated this figure, say, some time ago, almost about 2 years ago, when we made a survey, a lot of survey done. How much is the, first column? These are the different type of composts which are available in the market or are being traded or are being produced. First column, I have given the how much is the potential in the country. This is keeping in demand the how much is the raw material availability. Against that, how much is the installed production capacity in the industry or maybe a smaller ones, and how much is the finally the potential. Sorry, how much is being produced. So you can see very well, we estimated around 2.5 years ago that the potential for organic manure production is somewhere about 350 million tons. But as on today, we are producing only about 72 million tons. And in that, also major part goes to the farmyard manure, which is a on-farm activity by the farmers. We also made a survey then how much amount of raw material to which we can convert into the organic manures is available. Major part is the crop residue. Punjab, Haryana is also having a lot of crop residue, but unfortunately we are not able to put into use and simply burning it, because that's the easiest option for the farmer to do. Then livestock waste is the second largest one, which now CBG industry is trying to harvest partly from this and partly from number one. City waste is also there. Then industrial processed food waste, vegetable, fruits and market waste, industrial bio waste like pressed mud is also there. 𝘬𝗿𝗀𝗃, especially tree oil seed, which are non-edible. 𝘀𝗽𝗀𝗀𝗀. And what we calculate as total raw material availability is about 700 million tons. And if we convert, because normally any composting process, whatever is the biomass we put into the process, roughly around 50 to 60% is the quantity which is recovered in the form of a good value compost. Rest is the evaporated as carbon dioxide. And we are just now producing about 70 to 75 million tons. Just we have made out a small calculation, even with the current usage level and the potential, how much amount of direct nutrient supply can be derived from the organic manures. If we take 722 lakh tons of the organic manure which is being used, the direct nutrient contribution is about 10.8 lakh tons. This is how we have calculated. We have taken a average about 1.5% or 15 kg of the nutrient per ton of the manure. Based upon that we have calculated. And if we take the total potential of 3,500 lakh tons or 350 million tons, then the organic manures alone can contribute about 52 lakh tons of the NPK nutrients. This is the direct benefit. Then there are the indirect benefits in terms of soil health, soil buffering potential, natural nutrient cycles, continuous fixation and solubilization, unlocking nutrient from biomass, and an enhanced benefit in terms of the efficiency utilization. Then another 60 to 75 lakh tons can be added. So organic manures put together has a good potential of almost about 100 lakh tons. You can see more than 110 lakh tons or so. Now, there are some other resources which can be tapped for the commercial production of the organic manures. This is city waste, including sewage sludge. Here, a lot of technology intervention is needed. City waste contains a lot of non-biodegradable materials. How is to separate them and then compost it? Similarly, we have a problem with sewage. A lot of sewage sludge is available. But the methodology by which we are handling is finally leading them to the source of heavy metal. And also the quality which is coming up is not very good. But I have come across through some of the enterprises, those especially in the Maharashtra, those who have tried to convert sewage sludge into a good stable manure. I think those technologies need to be further evaluated and could be put into use. Then slaughterhouse waste, normally it is not being used. It is also a good source. Industrial waste, press mud is done, but other industrial waste is to be seen. We have a very good resource of goshalas. Although, say, 10 years ago, practically all the dung and urine was wasted. But now a lot has been done. But still there is a lot of work to be done and integration of the goshalas to be done with the production centers. Then crop residue is one there. Opportunities are there, fast composting processes, enrichment using minerals, and microbial enrichment. Through them, you can increase the nutrient value as well as the market acceptability from the farmers. Recently, some of the physical interventions has also been made, which have made possible for the easy applicability into the field. Like a lot of companies have started doing the granulation. Initially, granulation was a problem because their dispersibility was an issue. They were not getting dispersed so quickly. Now the granules have also come up, which are having a fast dispersibility. You apply to them into the field, and maybe within 24 to 48 hours, they get dispersed and they release all the nutrients. And then application machines and tools have also come up. I hope by all these things, granulation, dispersibility, and appropriate machines, their usability will be increased. Now, there is also one part where we can increase their use efficiency, where we can modify the cultural practices. But for that, some machines are required and some research is needed, such as raised bed placements and the interbed mulching. These are some of the initial experiments have done a very good results. Now, coming to the biogas compost, mostly what happens, three ways: either the biogas slurry is used as it is into the liquid form, or it is dried, but using as it is possible only in the nearby areas around the CBG plant. Drying, again, it's a problem. It takes a lot of land, lot of time. Then another option is there that you, through the dewatering machine, you separate out the solid part and leave the liquid part. So solid fermented manure and then liquid. As on today, their nutrient values are very, very poor. Even the maturity also becomes issue sometimes. We need, I think, a lot of work. You can, the CBGs, especially the plant CBG plants, can tie up with some research institution, find how a mature compost can be brought out the plants. I'm talking about the regulatory issues. Biogas compost, both the components of solid fraction as well as the liquid fraction has been notified. Whatever specifications we have mentioned into the FCO, they were also provided by the industry. We did not apply our mind, we simply accepted them and notified. But even those standards are difficult to meet, and the quality which comes out is difficult to be accepted by the farmers. Many of the cases, what happens now, the big biogas plants are stirred biogas plants, where the biomass keeps on rotating. So in that case, what happens, whatever output comes is not fully digested. And whenever there is a disturbance in the ratios, it creates a heating problem when it is applied into the field and added with the moisture. So a lot of things have to be done in that. Similarly, liquid fermented manure, although it was notified, but finally we find acceptability is very poor. Nutrient contents are almost negligible. Farmer normally says it's just a wastewater. So it can be straightway used only for the irrigation, mixed with the irrigation purpose in the nearby field. Unless you value add, it will not be of any use. So I think a lot of work required here, how the solid fermented manure is brought out when it is fully digested and how it is value added. Similarly, the liquid fermented manure also, how it can be brought out in an appropriate standard formulation. Value addition, if it is required, has to be done, and then only they will qualify as a product. Otherwise, what will happen, especially the both liquid and we are facing every day lot of complaints, lot of issues, lot of quality matters. Even if you sell it in the market, there will be a lot of quality control issues, and state will draw the sample, they will fail, and then there will be a problem. Although time being, some exception has already been given for some period of time, but that will not continue, because if we have to bring the manures from biogas plant as a quality material for a long lasting time, then we have to work, put up a good quality material, ensure that they meet the standards. If industry comes up with some modification of the standards, it's okay. But come up with the standards which are really acceptable. Now, one very good suggestion recently came. These are only the, what you can say, the carbon material. So accept it as a carbon as a fertilizer. So carbon is not a nutrient, first thing. It is not acceptable unless there is a fixed ratio between the carbon and nitrogen. The application will finally lead to the adverse impacts.
Thank you, Dr. Yadav, for your thorough perspective. Your proficiency in organic certification has undoubtedly established new benchmarks in sustainable agriculture and bioenergy integration. Now we are honored to welcome our next speaker, Mr. Ankur Kathuria from Aavishkar Group. Mr. Ankur is a partner at Intellecap Consultancy Service, which is a part of Aavishkar Group. He focuses on advising clients on agriculture transformation plans across the global south. Within agriculture, Mr. Ankur's advisory works in the past has included digitalization, asset creation, cooperative strengthening, circular economy, etc. His clients include a multilateral organization, international foundation, central and state government. So we are eagerly waiting to hear from you. And here we are having few of the queries or questions, and we would like you to give your insights on that. I hope I'm audible to you, sir.
Yeah. You're
Okay,
audible.
okay, okay. So, sir, the first thing which we want to know is that what can be innovative financing mechanism to ensure that CBG projects take off? And is there anything state governments can do to support these CBG projects?
Right. Dr. Savita, thank you so much. You've given an introduction about me. I'll just take a minute to talk about my firm as well. So my firm Intellecap, we are advising governments, multilaterals. Since I sit within the agriculture vertical, I do it for the agriculture sector. And of course, biomass, biofuel is all very close to my heart, and been working on these subjects quite lately. And one of the things that the firm focuses on is how to make the ecosystem work. So when I say ecosystem, it's various parties. It's the financing organizations, the offtake agreements, all of those, the input side, the upstream side of it. How to make the entire ecosystem work. That is the approach we usually take when we kind of get into an advisory on a mandate. So your question on how to make the financing work. Earlier, my co-panelist from SBI talked about what are things that the banks would look at when it comes to financing a CBG project. And he very clearly articulated that there is a need for an offtake agreement. There's a need to ensure that there's a technology standardization. Uh, the reality is that the banks also ask for collaterals, which are roughly between 50 to 70% of the project cost as well. And a lot of the entrepreneurs or the players are unable to provide that kind of collaterals. So in a way, it kind of creates a very peculiar situation for entrepreneurs, where they are unable to provide collaterals. The oil marketing companies are not able to give offtake agreements of 100% offtake. So the companies get into a situation where they are not able to get financing, and we see the likes of Adani's and Ambani's, putting up plants because they have, strong balance sheets to fund these projects. So to handle this issue, one of the points that kind of comes through is about, can we bring in some kind of a guarantee facility to support some of the entrepreneurs who are, looking to invest in CBG projects. Uh, so what this guarantee facility basically does is that it kind of acts as a first loss guarantee, where if there is a default by an entrepreneur, there will be a guarantee provider who would kind of bring that facility in place, and who would kind of bear the risk. So there is a first loss guarantee, then there is a second loss guarantee, so on and so forth. But the wider point that I'm making is that this is nothing new for the Indian sector, India as a country. We have seen credit guarantees earlier as well. Uh, Unfortunately for CBG, not much has happened. There was a facility being put by GEF, which is Global Environment Facility, where SIDBI was to act as the guarantee manager. However, the Global Environment Facility kind of insisted on a sovereign, counter guarantee from Department of Economic Affairs, and that issue did not go forward. It's kind of put to rest now. So the point that I'm trying to make is that more multilateral organizations should come forward to support guarantee facilities like this, where they kind of advise, or where they kind of bring in the capital needed for such facilities. And then there can be local institutions, the likes of SIDBI, the likes of NABARD, who can act as the guarantee managers. And then the third layer comes is the financial institutions, like say SBI or others who can, then use that guarantee on a fee basis. Of course, this fee at the end of the day will be charged to the entrepreneurs itself, but this will kind of create a mechanism to kind of unlock credit in the sector. Unfortunately, I see there are no, nobody from multilateral organizations there. But whenever I kind of meet them, I continue to urge them to work on this. And there are some signs of success in the background. There is work happening. Hopefully, when we get some of these guarantees in place, it will act as a catalyst for financing, the projects. So hopefully, this is one area that I wanted to emphasize on, that to make the ecosystem work, we surely need some kind of international guarantees to work for us, or to at least be implemented. Uh, on the other side, on the coming back to the point of making the ecosystem work, there's a lot that we can expect from the governments, also the state governments. We know in UP, Haryana, the bioenergy policies have come, and they've kind of acted as a catalyst. However, what we also know is that when private sector goes on to ask for land, or to look for land, they have no visibility in terms of where the land is available. And even if they go and seek land from, say, for panchayati land and so on and so forth, there is no visibility there as well. So if state governments can, create a portal of sorts where, the visibility of the land, along with the details of the catchment area, that from where they can get the paddy straw, that I think will be very helpful for our entrepreneurs, uh, to set up such plants. There was earlier a talk on, using fermented organic manure, and we all know that, fermented organic manure adds to the viability of the plant. However, given that it's expensive, farmers are not willing to buy this. So to bridge this gap, what can happen is there are a lot of multilateral organizations who want to, spend money on development aspects. So if state governments can put together proposals and approach these multilateral organizations to run some kind of a challenge fund where, fermented organic manure can be, in a way accelerated, or the marketability of that can be accelerated. So that will enable that, the plants are able to sell that at a subsidized cost to the farmers. So that will kind of, create that effect of, creating a market for FOM. So these kind of innovative mechanisms can also help to build a cycle of, say, positivity, where, the plants will start, plants will start becoming viable. Uh, Another point that I wanted to make about was that states should kind of focus on creating village level entrepreneurs as well, because we've seen that, the harvesting period, say, if example, we take the example of a paddy straw, where, the harvesting period is roughly, not more than 45 days, and all the paddy straw has to be, say, collected and baled in that period itself. So if we have village level entrepreneurs who are just progressive farmers, so they can, in a way take this as an initiative, where they kind of collect the paddy straw, they kind of convince their farmer brothers, I would say, because a lot of times it's also, a lack of knowledge, or some kind of an ego in, say, farmers, where they say that if my uh, uh, you know next door neighbor is burning paddy straw, then I will also burn paddy straw. So when we have a village level entrepreneur who's also a farmer, who can actually talk in their language, he'll be able to get paddy straw from them, who'll be able to bale it, and will be able to make sure that, this can be provided to the industry going forward. So these are some of the initiatives which I think should be brought in place to make the ecosystem really work. Last point I wanted to make was that, a lot of our entrepreneurs are probably not aware of how to make the carbon trading work for them. Uh, so a lot of these projects do qualify for getting carbon credits, although the prices are depressed. But if, say, central government or state government can, work collectively on bundling these projects, because what happens is on an individual basis, when you want to register these projects for under some VERA guidelines or other guidelines to get carbon credits, individually the cost is quite high. So if state governments or central government can pick up some of this cost, bundle the projects, and say 8 to 10 projects get bundled together and listed together and start earning that carbon credit as well. So that will also add to the viability of the project. I'll take a pause here and happy to handle questions during the Q&A session as well.
Thank you so much, sir. Your talk, your words, your informations are really insightful for the biogas industry. Thank you so much once again. Now, we are extremely privileged to have the support and blessings of Ministry of Renewable Energy. And in that spirit, let us welcome our next esteemed speaker, Dr. Sangeeta M. Kasture. To briefly introduce ma'am, Dr. Kasture is Scientist G in the Ministry and heads the National Biogas Program and Small Hydro Program. With her extensive background in promoting innovations in bioenergy and her contributions to climate change mitigation strategies. Ma'am, we look forward to hearing your valuable perspectives.
Thank you so much for the introduction, and very happy to hear the speakers, which were very insightful talks. As you mentioned, I'm looking at bioenergy program from Ministry of New and Renewable Energy. This ministry plays very important role, which is towards climate change and what net zero goals India has set for 2070. The renewable energy part, and there again the bioenergy plays very important role in the entire energy basket. Currently, the share of bioenergy is comparatively very significantly low. When we say that today the target against the 500 gigawatt, India has met target about 205 gigawatt, where bioenergy contribution is 11.34, and which is largely composed of biogas-based cogeneration, whereas others are also the CBG and biomass to power, which include non-biogas based, which is also included in those sector. But we need to push this sector. There are a lot of opportunities are there, and also the availability of biomass, the waste carbon, which is available in different forms of waste material that we need to tap. And we need to, we all are working on that, but there is a huge potential. I can just give some numbers. For example, biomass, the large amount of surplus which is available in the country is 228 million metric tons. So which is this is the report which is MNRE supported to, the ASCI had done this report in a couple of years back in 2021. So this much amount is available to trap the biomass. There are multiple usages we also need to understand, because there are policies on bioethanol. Also, there is hydrogen biomass will go for hydrogen biomass to power. So there are multiple usages are there that also we need to consider. But how much value addition can be done to this biomass, that is very important. And what are the energy inputs and energy input, the material balance, how much carbon we are capturing and how much we are getting. So all these aspects also are very important. And most important is the cost of the final product. So that drives the market. So the power potential and the bio-CNG potential, which we estimated from these various material available, that is municipal solid waste, sewage waste, animal dung, sugarcane, bagasse, etc. Many speakers have talked about these feedstocks. I'm not going to repeat it, but the bio-CNG potential coming from the paddy straw is almost 43.7 thousand tons per day. And straw-based, without paddy straw, and paddy straw-based is 16.3 thousand TPD. So there is a huge potential, and what target we have is 15 million tons. That is, we need to do that, and 5,000 plants has to be set up as per the SATAT. So currently we are at I say that we have been doing good, and this is an emerging area, CBG sector, but we need to work a lot. Currently, we have about almost 112 plants commissioned. So this is a very small number compared to the 5,000 which we are agreeing. So MNRE is the program which bioenergy program focuses on three aspects, basically waste to energy, biomass, and biogas, small biogas. So under waste to energy, there is a program called BioCNG where the subsidies, financial assistance, center financial assistance is provided. It is depending on the quantity of the bio-CBG produced. So it is around 4 crores is given for 4.8 TPD. And this is there is a cap of 10 TPD currently as per the guidelines, where the 10 crores is given for 12 TPD production of bio-CNG. There are multiple other, again, this is for the large scale biogas. And if you are talking about medium scale, again, their medium biogas scale, 25 cubic meter to 2500 cubic meter. There are also this biogas small sector, decentralized plants where various waste material is converted to biogas and biogas to power. So there is given by MNRE. And coming to the small biogas, which is in the range of 1 cubic meter to 25 cubic meter. This is typically a family size biogas of average is 2 cubic meter, which is the most demanding size. And India, I'm in MNRE side, there is a subsidy of with respect to the size from 1 to 75 cubic meter in that different ranges there. I'm not going to talk about, everything is available on website. But currently, if you're talking about the waste energy CBG plants, almost 71 projects have been commissioned with capacity of 536 tons per day installed capacity. And in the biogas program, about more than 30,000 small biogas plant units have been set up by in last 2 years, and 38 medium-sized biogas units with 4 megawatt capacity have been established under this National Bioenergy Program. We know that there are several challenges. We have been organizing stakeholder consultations, experts meetings in order to give boost where are the challenges are there in various areas. Subsidy is also provided. There is a government portal, unified portal, where all these different subsidy or schemes from different ministries are also put together for example, biomass aggregation machinery by Agriculture, Ministry of Petroleum. Then another is the offtake from Ministry of Petroleum, and MDA assistance from Department of Fertilizers, and the subsidy scheme from MNRE for capital investment, mostly which is focused. The challenges are enormous in this sector. This is a growing sector, but as I said that this is because I call this bio-CBG or biogas as a second generation or next generation, because this is not conflicting with food, feed, or everything, and it is only mostly using the waste material. If we exclude the energy crop, otherwise all these feedstock which earlier speakers also talked about, press mud, agriculture residue, MSW, these are all waste generated, and those things are used for this. I also agree that there is problem of composition. These all material are heterogeneous except press mud, and the composition and its quality is very important. I'm not going to, but where interventions are required are basically for the composition, whether we can improve the composition of these, can we do pre-treatment before that? There are some institutes, they are working on those aspects where the biomass can be made very readily digestible, so that its retention time is also reduced, and you also get better yields. The carbon, which is almost lignin, is mostly not utilized from the biomass. It's mostly cellulose, hemicellulose. So whether lignin also can be utilized, or lignin can be converted to any other value additional thing, those challenges, those innovations we need to do. And I think many scientists or researchers and research laboratories need this, and we can have further improvement on those aspects. And as I said, the storage also is another important, storage and supply chain. During storage also, the quality of biomass deteriorates. So how to maintain that, whether can we do some solid state fermentation, or any manure, any culture can be added to the feedstock, so that while storage, the biomass, instead of reducing the carbon content, can we improve the carbon content and improve the palatability of the feedstock? So those technologies are there. We need to adopt those technologies. Those be at laboratory scale or pilot scale. We need to take up to the large scale and industry adaptation. So these ways we can improve the yields. FOM, LOFM, he has already spoken about it. Yadav has largely talked about that. You have the expertise in that. So I need not to mention about this. But we, as I said, the subsidies are there, but that enrichment, how we add value to this is a very important. Some of the water, the maximum water is there. Can we recirculate that? And again, add some those things, value addition to the FOM, so that it meets the standard and that can be utilized for value addition. Carbon, which is going back, sustainability as very nicely explained. The carbon we are taking from the plant, from the field, same carbon should go back to the soil in the form of the organic matter. So that is the sustainability, and also we can improve the soil health, the microbiome, which is available, which is very important for that. Can this be retained, because that has been deteriorated? So by using different microorganisms, cultures, can we also do that? Soil fertility can be improved. So these aspects, I would say that the biogas-based biorefinery, we need to work high-performance biorefinery. That approach everyone has to adopt, so that you get a lot of value-added materials from various sources, which we are looking in the process of biogas production, that is going for CBG or many other application. But those byproducts can be very well taken care, and value addition can be done, so that a holistic approach can be done, and the cost of CBG also reduced, and many value-added products are also brought in. So these are some of the important, again, in purification system. So there are innovations required, because we lose CO2 also in that, and methane is also not captured very well. So there also we need to work on PSA2 membrane systems. So how we can improve this? Can we do other systems, purification systems, so that we can capture carbon as well as the methane yield also improved, and economy, it gets to add to the economy, the thing. So larger aspects are there, capital investment, there is a subsidy for MNRE side, but there are operational challenges. Those can be taken care by different units. We need to have more and entrepreneurs coming in supply chain mechanism. And can we have decentralized storage or biobanks? The biomass index, the biobanks, that is also another approach we can think of. And with this, I would pause here. Thank you once again.
Thank you, ma'am, for your comprehensive and passionate address. Your insights on government's interference to make bioenergy happen has really charged us up. Now, dear participants, we are going to have some big announcement for you, and so I call upon Colonel Rohit Dev to make the announcement.
No, it's a very small announcement actually, for a big impact.
Very
So
big impact.
yes. So thank you so much, Dr. Savita. And Dr. Kasturi is here, ma'am. Namaskar. And under your aegis, I think both IBA and other associations are now able to play their role quite effectively. So taking this momentum ahead in the month of May, and we have mapped this out to see there is no other interference of any other activity as well. In the first week, which is 8th and 9th, we intend holding this summit. And this summit we want to curate as one of its kind starting this year on a small scale. So obviously the space for exhibitors is limited this time, so they need to hurry. But next year onwards, we'll take it to a different dimension, and we want to cover the 3 Bs in the bioenergy space. One is the bioenergy, biofuels, and biomaterials. And when we talk about the bioenergy segment, we are looking at the boiler segment, right from densification to power sector to private FMCG sector and other applications as well. And in biofuels, we are looking at the entire gamut of biofuels, all kinds of technologies and R&D which go through there. And so is the case for biomaterials. And combined with all three, we are looking at the upstream segment, which is common to all as well. So we intend holding this over 2 days and broadly dividing the 2 days into 4 segments. So first segment is a plenary inaugural session where we intend to co-opt the support of MNRE and MOPNG and MoE&FCC and others as well. And then these three segments are three halves of a day. So first day we will have bioenergy. The second day we will have biofuels and biomaterials. And our intention is that the bioenergy segment is in large way taken under the umbrella of MNRE. The biofuel part, where we'll cover the E2G part, SAF part, and the CBG part per se from the midstream point of view, and policies for downstream. We will seek the support of the sister ministry, which is MoP&G. And for biomaterials, we intend seeking the support of the Chemical and Fertilizer Ministry to start with, because the focus of IBA is also to make sure that the circular economy is well curated in this entire dimension. And in all three, we have a segment of finance, a segment of carbon capture related technologies, and other parameters. So all those key things, including workforce management and skill development, also we'll keep a small session there as well to get it in that overview. And taking from your cue from your ministry, ma'am, of the awareness campaign, we would like to take that on also to be a part of not only this entire build up to this seminar. We'll also have some kind of webinar based movement in this leading to the summit, and thereafter follow-ups through a white paper, which we will also again seek support of the concerned ministries to take it to yourselves and international coordination effort as well. So that is what we are planning with this activity. We intend getting all the major players in India and globally as well. So this is typically focused on the green part of bioenergy, biofuels, and biomaterials. So that is the short announcement, and I hope there will be a lot of support from the ministries, from the stakeholders, and we will slowly make this plan and discuss with the concerned ministries as well, take their opinion, how they want to structure. And I also intend, Dr. Kasture, to have two roundtables around this time as well. So one is typically a ministerial roundtable where we will have interministerial representation and some key stakeholders and representation from IBA and other associations as well, India and global. And the second one will be typically a CEO roundtable, where the entire dimension of our 2025 CEOs from across the globe will try and get for this. So we are making the small step starting this year, but next year onwards, we want to make it a flagship global and a continued event happening in India under the aegis of concerned ministries and the support of associations and various bigger companies as well. So that is the short part of this announcement. Thank you so much.
So much, sir, for this announcement. We are eagerly around. We would like you to please give your feedback on this webinar. So I request Ms. Jyoti to put forward so that we can have the feedback. And as we know, there is always a scope. So we can that will be helpful for us in the near future. I hope our participants must have shared their feedback with us. Now we can move on with our question and answer session. Although we are having a flurry of questions from the participants, I will direct a few of them to our extreme panelist. The first one is for Mr. Ravi Kaushal. There are many agriculturists talking about higher Napier grass yield per acre. Have you financed any Napier grass based CBG plant, or will you be willing to if it is viable?
Yes, as I also conveyed in my session also, we received two proposals. Last 2 months, only two proposals came to me. One was from Saharanpur, another one from Ayodhya. So when we calculated, they were having both the variety. There are two varieties. One grows means 3 crops per year, and another one is the 4 crops per year. One is the domestic variety, another was some borrowed some international variety. But once we calculate the requirement of land, that goes very large. That is 500 to 900 acres, and moreover, first of all, cultivating on that and managing that much large means, as I told you, that is almost 50 to 40% of area of an airport. So it will be a very difficult task. I think if somebody wants to do that, it is better to mix Napier grass with some other bio feed. That will be a good option. And moreover, you will get in comparison to the press mud, you get a benefit of 1% yield. Like if you are getting a 3% yield in press mud, you are getting some yield of around 4 to 5% in a Napier grass. So getting a, so you have to see that means getting a benefit of 1% yield and bringing so much trouble of managing that much area of land, that will be a big challenge, and more investment is required. So that's why you have to be very, very cautious while going for a Napier grass.
Yeah, that's right.
Thank you. Thank you so much, sir. Next question has come up for Colonial Rohit. Sir, the question is that is there any bamboo-based innovation application in India, especially from pellet or biochar perspective?
Yes, there is some traction towards the densification part and also utilization in the refinery as well. But in terms of the other one, I think we're a little away from that still in terms of the technology fructification for that particular segment.
Okay, thank you, sir. Thank you so much. Next, we have question for Dr. Yadav. How is the demand of organic fertilizer, especially when we look for the bulk buyers?
Demand is pretty good there. Actually, in the organic sector, demand is not a big issue. Quality is a big issue, and consistency in the quality is a big issue. You know, most of the fertilizer companies are the major buyers of all the manures. But the problem is that quality is not coming up, so continuous supply is always a big problem.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, sir. Next, we have the question for Dr. Kasture. Ma'am, as MNRE is already putting a lot of efforts, when can we expect the next phase of subsidy available for CBG?
We have this scheme and we are working on that. We have a couple of consultations also. We are working on new scheme as well as new policy, a larger scheme to expect. Yes.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you. Thank you, ma'am. Next, the question is for Mr. Kathuria. How to look for the support in form of green bond or other such instruments?
Yeah, so when it comes to green bonds, it's a way of financing projects and green energy projects, say, and CBG is one of those. So in terms of there, I think a lot of green bonds have not taken off the ground in terms of the CBG projects. There is still work being done. I think multilateral organizations are working towards it. But the reality is that it is yet to take off when it comes to CBG. That's the short answer to it, I would say.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much.
The question took cue from 𝘁𝗍𝗃 ji. So he's working very effectively there for green bonds for his sector.
Yeah.
So, dear participants, as there are a lot of questions, but we won't be able to take all of them, we request you to please email us those questions, and our team is very prompt in answering all your queries. So, with this, we have now come to the end of this webinar. I would like to extend thanks to all the esteemed speakers for their wonderful insights and the participants for their patient hearing. Now, before signing off, all of us, let's pledge to put in a bit more effort to mainstream the adoption of this beautiful green fuel. Once again, thanks and wish you all the success in your future endeavor. Bye on behalf of association. Wish you a great weekend ahead. Thank you once again to all of you to be a part of this webinar. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you,
Thank you
everyone.
to IB and all you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Gaurav ji and all of you.
Thank you.
Thank you.